It's time for my Owls wrap up. Hello Owls, I hope you're good. I know I talked about my Owls wrap-up kind of thing in the live. I will link it down below and up there. But yeah, I wanted to do a proper video as well, just saying like a few words about each book, because I've read actually 18 books during the Owls, and well, 12 were for the Owls, but the rest were not. So I just wanted to talk a bit about those books and say that I really discovered some very good books and I'm happy about that. The magical readathons are, I should say are, because there is one in April, there is one in August, and there is one in December, are one of my favorite readathons, but they are very demanding. I mean, they're demanding because we are making them demanding. We could just pick like 12 small books, or we could just stick to the 4 prompts we need to do for a career or whatever. As much as I love that readathon, as much as I had fun, I wanted it to end at the end because I pushed myself so much. I'm happy about it, and I'm also happy seeing the entire community, I mean the entire community, the people participating in that readathon, sticking together and supporting each other and sharing tips, etc., doing 24-hour readathons there and doing like sprints over there, etc., etc. I really love that kind of vibes from readathon. But in case you don't know it, you just stepped on that video, welcome to the pack first. But the magical readathon is actually a readathon created by G over at Bookworm that happens every year in April for the Owls, in August for the Newts, and in December she usually has a 2-week-long readathon, magical readathon around Christmas or whatever, a very small one that can help you when extra credit or extra days for the Owls readathon, etc., etc. It is obviously Harry Potter related because the Owls are the exams they had to sit during the 5th year and the Newts during the last year, so the 7th year. But you don't have to read the Harry Potter series in order to participate in that readathon. I would say the experience is probably different because you would not maybe understand all the prompts or all the subjects, etc. But it's not gonna take away all your fun, believe me. So yeah, let's just jump into the wrap-up. I'm not talking about the readathon here, but yeah, so let me just show you the books I have read that were not for the Owls first, so we get rid of them. First we have that one, so Queen of Ruin by Tracy Bankheart, which is a sequel to Curse and Fury, so just over there. You cannot see, but whatever. I was really disappointed in that book. I gave it 3 stars, which is not that bad, I know. But the first one was about 2 sisters. They were raised in order to become the king's concubine, I think. One of them was raised to become the concubine or the wife or whatever, and the other one was raised to actually serve her sister. They're gonna go to the castle, they're gonna present themselves to the king, and nothing's gonna happen as it was supposed to happen, kind of thing. And it's a very feminist book, and I really enjoyed the relationship between the 2 girls because they actually learned so much about the other girl from very far away. They understood why the other one was doing that, why the other one wasn't doing that, etc., etc. I really love their relationship. I just felt like the sequel was not necessary. I wasn't addicted to the story as much as I was in the first one. In the first one, I really cared for the characters. In this one, I didn't care as much. I think that it should have stayed a standalone and not a duology, but short, so I finished it in no time. I just like in no time. It took me a few days to actually finish that book because I wasn't like captivated. But yeah, maybe you would like that series. Then we have The Shadows Between Us by Trisha Levensetter. You know I love Trisha Levensetter. I've read her other books, Daughter of the Pirate King, Daughter of the Siren Queen, and Into the Wild. I really loved all of her books. This one was 4 stars. This is basically the story of a very Slytherin kind of person who has the ambition to actually make the king fall in love with her, become the queen, and then kill the king so she gets to rule the entire kingdom. And I was really scared getting into that book because I was like, okay, it's gonna be so Slytherin-y, it's gonna be so like bloody and ambitious, etc. at the very beginning of the book, and then she's gonna fall in love and it's gonna be butterflies and unicorns and blah 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 everywhere. It wasn't the case, so in case you are expecting that, it's not like turning into that. So I was intrigued from the beginning till the end. Even if at some point I was a bit annoyed by the characters, I was happy that she didn't become what I didn't want her to become. 4 stars, and it was also a buddy read, so I really enjoyed that. The next book is actually this one, so Blood Hair by Emily Wenzel. was so disappointed. Was like, I'm a sucker for anything that has to do with Anastasia retelling, the Romanov Russian folklore, blah blah blah. This is an Anastasia retelling, and oh my god, I was so sad. I gave it 2 stars. It could have been a 1 star, but I just couldn't give it 1 star. I finished it. I was about to DNF it. I think that everyone else I was reading it with DNF'd it. Oh my gosh, this is just so sad. Like, I expected that book to be a 5 stars. I know there was some scandal drama about that book when the arcs came out. I don't know anything about it. I don't even know what it was about or whatever. I don't think that's what bothered me in that book. I don't think so. It's just that the main character, so Anastasia's retelling Canada, that was a mix of kind of thing and blah blah blah, lost her entire family except for her brother, and she wants revenge. She wants to go after the alchemist who killed her father, her mom, etc, etc. And she's like the kind of person who's like, yeah, I'm the warrior, I'm the best, I can defend myself, I'm bloody and blah blah blah, I have some kind of power. She has some kind of abilities, a blood ability, and it's like the most powerful one and the most scared one, etc. And she's like, yeah, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do that, you know, I'm able, blah blah blah. But the entire time she's just saying but not showing, and she's like, yeah, I'm strong, but she's like tired after 5 minutes, and she's like, yeah, I don't trust anyone, I can do it by myself. And then she trusts that person blindly and whatever. Like, nothing was matching to her behavior. Like, her behavior wasn't matching her personality or the image she had of herself, and that just bothered me so much, because I prefer you to show me what you're capable of than just saying what you're capable of and not showing me anything, if you know what I mean. So I was really disappointed in that one. If you loved it, I'm sorry, but yeah. And apparently it is a series. I didn't know. I'm probably not gonna pick up the sequel. Then we have Anxious for Nothing, blah blah blah. We'll put the picture of it here. I listened to it on script and I actually gave it 2 stars. I thought it was about being anxious and how to deal with it, how to learn to live with anxiety, etc, etc. But during the entire book, the narrator, I mean the story, was actually focusing on religion, and I'm not a believer. Like, I don't have a religion kind of thing. I grew up with, on one side of my family, Catholic religion, on the other side Muslim, like Islam. So I'm like in the middle of it. I accept both of them, but I don't believe in any of them. I don't practice anything. And the fact that he was referring to God all the time and to the Bible, etc, just wasn't for me. I didn't feel any connection. I'm not saying that what it said was wrong or wasn't helpful. I just said that the fact that he referred, I mean the narrator, the book, blah blah, referred to God all the time, just wasn't talking to me. So it wasn't like, I didn't feel connected, etc. But maybe you could try it. Then The Pearl in the Eyes by Catherine Constable. I gave it 3 stars. It is a middle grade fantasy as well, with adventures. I read another book by her. I think it was The Wolf Princess, which I gave it 3 stars as well. It's just that her stories, they have a good atmosphere, they have a good world building, they have good characters, the adventure is fine, etc. But I just don't feel like I'm addicted to the story. I don't feel like I'm going to that journey with the characters. I just feel like I'm reading about it, which I am actually, but I don't feel like I'm in the story with them. Like, I don't feel like I'm in the danger. I don't feel like I'm winning, I'm happy or whatever. I just don't feel what the character feels in the book. So I was a bit disappointed because of that. We're gonna follow the story of Marina. She's 12 and her father is actually sending her to a boarding school because she has to learn all the ladylike kind of thing, and she has to go to that school because her mother is not there anymore and her father is going to command the ship. And of course she doesn't want that. She's heartbroken and she's gonna hide on the ship. And it's such a cute story because she's gonna be in charge of dogs, for instance, on a slave, you know, for to travel on the snow, etc. And it has some undertone of political issues, etc. It was really interesting. I just didn't feel like that connection. I didn't feel like I was a character or that I was traveling with a character. So that's the only thing that actually bothered me. Then I listened to another audiobook and I gave it 5 stars, and it is this one, so Voyage of the Basilisk, Memoir of Lady Trent, book 3, because actually book 2 I read it for the owls, which I could talk about it now. So the second one is actually this one, so The Tropic of the Serpents, a Memoir of Lady Trent. So this is the sequel. I gave it 5 stars and it was for Charms, which was mandatory for me. I think I had to read Charms. But yeah, you know my love for that series by now if you watch my vlogs. But this is the sequel, this is the third book. I'm gonna continue with all of them. The books are as good as the audiobooks. I really love the audiobooks because you have the tone, you have the character's accent, etc. And the character's accent, I mean the narrator of the audiobooks just matches the character from the books. So I really enjoy the audiobooks, but I'm just like switching from one to the other. And it's really historical fiction, it has fantasy, it's about a girl who's becoming a naturalist and studying dragon, but it's so much more than that. Don't expect a high fantasy with dragons everywhere. She wants to study them for a reason, because they're not everywhere, because they're misunderstood. It's like you're gonna read a documentary about a girl traveling all around the world and discovering new like societies, like discovering new groups of people living in a different way and living next to different dragons kind of thing. And it's really interesting. I love the writing style, is amazing. I love the characters, I love the history, I love the dragon, and I love the science aspect of it. I love everything. So just don't expect a high fantasy, don't expect dragons to be everywhere, don't expect it to be super fast-paced or whatever. It's a memoir, so yeah. Then I've read The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill for History of Magic. Yes, I need that reminder because I cannot remember all 12 prompts, blah blah blah. I gave it 4 stars because it was really cute, I was really addicted, I love the characters, I love the story, etc. But I missed some of the atmosphere. I think it's gonna be only a me issue kind of thing, because I'm used to power fantasy and I'm used to wintry settings being like what I love reading about and what I can actually picture. This happened in the middle of the forest, etc., but there wasn't snow, whatever, so I can picture it less. So that's just my brain. So it might be a 5 stars for you. That's just an issue I had, because I feel like it's easier for me to imagine a wintry setting in a book than a summery setting like on the desert or whatever. I just cannot picture it, and I'm usually not attracted by those books, whatever. This is basically the story of a village who every year they're gonna sacrifice the youngest kid of the village. They're gonna leave that kid in the forest, the witch is gonna come there. The village believes that the witch is actually asking for that sacrifice in order to leave them alone kind of thing. The witch doesn't understand why the people are doing that, so every year she's gonna grab that kid and she's gonna feed that kid Starlight, which is gonna give the kid some abilities, like they're gonna be nicer, smarter, kinder, etc. And then she's gonna make a journey to another village to give that kid to a nice family. One day it's gonna happen with Luna. She's gonna be so tired, she's not gonna see that she's not feeding the baby with Starlight but Moonlight, and we all know that Moonlight will give the kid magic. So she cannot give the kid to a family because a kid with magic can be trouble, let's say. So she's gonna keep Luna with her, she's gonna be her grandmother, etc, etc. But Luna doesn't really know that. What the author actually did was really interesting, because you have some moral kind of questions in it. Can you do that with a kid or can't you do that with a kid? I really enjoyed all of it. It's really a cute story, I would highly recommend it. Yeah, the only issue that I had with it is probably a me issue. So yeah. Then we have Parasite that I read for Transfiguration, so I needed some kind of shape-shifting in the book. It is a manga I really enjoyed by Hitoshi Iwaki. I'm not sure if you say Hiwaki or Hiwaki, Iwaki, I'm sorry. But it has to do with people actually getting invaded by parasite that will enter them and take over the control of their body kind of thing. But there is one thing that's gonna go wrong with one invasion kind of thing. The parasite's not gonna enter the body of that boy the right way, and so something weird is gonna happen. As you can see from the cover, it has to do with his hand, and that parasite kind of thing, or take over the entire human body's nerve system kind of thing, and the human kind of die in it, or it takes over a body and he takes control over a bad host, and something could go wrong anytime. And it's really gross and really creepy at some part, but I really loved it, because imagine your hand that could shift in anything. That's just so gross. Some part were really disgusting, but I really enjoyed the story. I love the relationship between the parasite and the guy, actually, and it's just fun. I still have questions questions, so that's why it's a 4 stars, because I don't understand everything, and there are just some stuff I'm just like, does that even make sense? But I don't know if that makes sense, or I don't know if that doesn't make sense, so that intrigues me. I hope I will have some answers in the sequel. Do you say sequel for mangas? In the second book in the series. So yeah, so you know, the manga recommendations, I get them from Catarina. I will link her channel down below. Let's just go with all the mangas I've read, so then I can move on to the books. I've read Solanine for Muggle Studies. It's that chunker. I think it's actually 2 volumes or whatever, but I needed to read something from a Muggle's point of view, and it is a contemporary kind of manga. I gave it 3 stars because it was beautiful. It was really heartbreaking, etc., but contemporary is not my genre or the genre I go for, so I wasn't feeling like that connected or that invested in the story. It was beautiful. It's a story of that girl who, she graduated from college, she rents an apartment, there is her boyfriend that crashes at her place all the time because he has a part-time job as an administrator, if I remember well. She has I don't want to say complicated life or easy life, or she's not spoiled or whatever, but she's going through things. I have a job, I hate that job, so I quit that job. Do I have a plan B? No, let's see what happens, etc., etc. Because I've never read anything that has to do with that, like growing up and going adult-ish stuff after graduation. I really enjoyed it. It's really about mental health. I mean, some kind of mental health, how to deal with some stuff, and also growing up, knowing what you like, what you don't like, knowing what you want, because knowing what you want is not always the easiest part of life. So I really loved it, but I gave it 3 stars because I wasn't like, I could put the book down and I could be just like, no, I'm not gonna continue. I continued it. It's beautiful, but just not for me. Then Children of the Wheels for Defense Against the Dark Arts that I buddy read with Dena over at Poroline. I gave that book 4 stars. I was just like, I wasn't expecting that. The beginning was very beautiful and poetic and slow, etc. Beautiful graphic, like beautiful design, beautiful illustrations, and in the end I was like, what the heck just happened? I'm not sure. Okay, I need to pick the second book in the series, which I'm gonna buddy read with Dena if my book arrives on time. If not, I'm gonna catch up and we will be reading the 3rd one together. Basically, the people there are living on an island called the Whale, and you have like the Whale children, you have marked people and unmarked people. The marked people, they have some kind of power. The unmarked people don't have power and can live longer, while the other one die younger. I don't understand all of it. I don't understand why an island. I don't understand why some have powers and others not. I don't understand much actually about that book, but I loved it. It was very atmospheric and captivating, etc., and beautiful illustrations, as I said, so I want to continue with it. Then I've read Tokyo Ghoul for Astronomy, so a book to read at night, and I gave that book 4 stars as well, I think. Yes, because I still have questions. I don't know if it's gonna be the case for every single manga, because I feel that's why the series are so long, because they want to make you read more, whatever, to have answers to your questions. I loved it, but I still have questions. Why are the ghouls living with the humans? Why are humans aware that the ghouls are living with them and trying to eat them, but they're still there? And why are the ghouls feeding on the humans and living with them? Is there a plan? Whatever. So I'm just like curious, I want to know more. So this wasn't in French. It was a mistake actually. I didn't mean to buy it in French, but that's perfect because my sister wants to read it as well. I enjoyed it and I'm gonna continue with the series. Then we have that one week in the library that I've read for potions, so a book with less than 150 pages. I love that book. I gave it 5 stars, then 4 stars, and then I've read all the reviews and everyone was like trashing that book. This is very short. It starts on Thursday and it ends on Wednesday, so 1 week in the library, and you're gonna follow a guy who's gonna explain you what a Monday looks like, what a Saturday looks like, etc., etc. It's really not like you don't have anything to understand or whatever, but the ending was problematic for a lot of people, which I didn't find problematic. I really enjoyed it. I wasn't expecting it, blah blah blah. So I really enjoyed it. I loved the illustrations. I really loved all the colors, etc. And some part you were just like having like illustrations, then you had some kind of puzzle, then it was in black and gray, and it was all different, etc. I really loved it, so I would definitely recommend it if you're looking for something very short and very cute. I mean, not cute, but good and easy and fun kind of thing, but know that a lot of people hated it, so I might be like the only one who loves it. I don't think so, but yeah. So thank you, Catarina, for all your recommendations. Then for arithmancy, I listened to an audiobook. Yeah, I'm not gonna listen to something else or whatever. It was The Institute by Stephen King. I gave it 3 stars because I think it's the first time I read a Stephen King since he has changed his style kind of thing, because before it was really horror heavy, and now I feel it's more like paranormal sci-fi, but more like in a horror-ish vibes, because it's even more believable nowadays because of the sci-fi part of the horror kind of thing. I don't know if that makes any sense. But it has to do with kids being kidnapped because they have some kind of abilities and they're being trained, forced to be trained and forced to do some stuff in that camp, and they kind of have power. So you have telekinesis, for instance, etc, etc. I don't know, I just didn't care actually. It wasn't bad, but I didn't care about the characters. I didn't care what would happen to the kids or whatever. I listened to the end because the other book wasn't bad. I wasn't expecting that, and I think that, I don't know what I think of that book, but 3 stars because it wasn't bad. I finished it, I liked it, but I wasn't like impressed, so yeah. Then I read Binding for Divination by Bridget Collins. I gave that book 3 stars. I was really intrigued at the very beginning. So it has to do with a kid who lives in a family, blah, blah, blah. And one day he's gonna ask to become the apprentice of a binder. A binder is a person who binds books, but not the way you think, because books is not something you really want your kid to be around. You don't want your kid to actually read a book, because books are not something that everyone feels comfortable about. Everyone can read, but they don't read books. So yeah, so he's gonna become an apprentice, and he's gonna discover and understand the secrecy behind everything, etc. But what was the focus at the beginning of the book wasn't the focus at the end of the book, which I didn't mind actually, but I minded because it wasn't done the way I would have liked it to be done. I don't mind that, let's say the focus of the beginning of the book is someone trying to escape a castle, let's say. And let's say that at the ending she's trying to find some secret behind a family secret or whatever. I don't mind the beginning to be like the escaping and at the end the secrecy, as long as the first part is still in the end, because that's what you sold me. So I expected it to be there till the end. I don't mind other things to add up to the story, but I think the part you sold me should be there. It wasn't really the case with that one. That's what disappointed me. I'm not saying it's a bad book. The writing style, I think, is amazing. The ideas are amazing. I think it's well done. I love the world building. Just the focus of the book, I wasn't a fan of. LGBT, in case you're wondering. Adult, definitely adult because of some sex scenes. But yeah, I don't know. Then we have Frost Heart for Ancient Runes by Jamie Littler. I gave it obviously 5 stars. But a fantasy middle grade that was recommended by Gavin so many times. I was supposed to read it for the Peloton, then for the Believe-A-Thon, no, for the Believe-A-Thon, then the Peloton, and then now. I finished it now, Gavin. I read it, it was a 5 stars. It has everything you want a middle grade book to have. It has adventures, it has friendship, it has family kind of thing, it has a secret, it has magic, it has amazing adventures. I said that, right? But oh my gosh, it was just so cute. It's the story of a little boy who has no parents because they're actually some kind of explorers, and they left one day and never got back. The thing is that he was adopted by a family who didn't want him anymore because apparently he's a song waver, and a song waver is actually someone who sings and get in contact with some kind of creatures and the world around them, etc, etc, which you don't want them to be, because that's no good. So the family wanted to get rid of him, and he got adopted, or let's say the person kind of forced the adopter to adopt him, but he got to live with the Yeti. The Yeti is also an outcast because he left his clan, clique, I'm not sure, family, group, whatever, and it's just so cute. It's like the Yeti is not his dad, but he cares about him, so he's a family member, etc, etc, and it's all about that and who you can trust, etc. I just found it super cute, so I would definitely recommend it to anyone, and all the illustrations in them just so cute. So go read it. Then I read Never Tell by Catarina. I gave it 4 stars, and it was for Care of Magical Creatures. It has to do with a girl who wants to escape some kind of prison in Siberia. So it has a wintry setting, as you can see from the cover, and she's gonna escape from there with her best friends and other misfits kind of thing, people she should not have trusted, but whatever. And she's gonna go on that adventure. She's gonna go through some annoying things, and she's gonna discover some like secrets she was supposed to learn about them, but maybe not that way or whatever. But yeah, very interesting, very atmospheric. I really loved that book. I wasn't like captivated 100% of the time, but I would definitely recommend it. It has like ghost kind of spirited wolf in it, which I love wolves, so I wanted to love that book, which I did. And I love the foiled like orangey kind of thing on that cover. It just goes so well. So a tale that sparkles with frosty magic. I really loved it. So wintry settings, Russian vibes, so middle grade. The last one I've read for herbology still has no cover, but this is Middle Game by Shannon Maguire. I gave it 5 stars. Don't even ask me to explain. It is written by Shannon Maguire. I just love the vibes between the two main characters. So Roger and Dodgers are brothers and sisters who were fabricated, who were built by some kind of alchemist. It will be so hard for me to actually explain it because of my broken English, but the two kids are actually full of the power of the world kind of thing. You have Roger, the guy who has actually language, and he's a linguist kind of thing. And then you have Dodger, who's the girl who has math and numbers, etc. Together, they're just the best. Apart, they're just the best as well, and they kind of communicate through their minds. And I just found the writing style amazing. I found the ideas amazing. I found the atmosphere amazing. I found everything about it amazing. So I could talk about that book for hours, but I'm just gonna say it was a 5 stars because Shannon Maguire again, so I might be biased on that, but I loved it. I know a lot of people found it very annoying because you actually don't have much of action. It's really character driven, and I love the first part of the book where you learn about all the characters and them growing up apart because they're not raised by the same family kind of thing. I just love that part. It was so, I don't know, I loved it. It was cute, it was beautiful, it was everything I wanted a book to have. So bravo, Shannon Maguire. But yeah, wolves, that's all for my TBR. Please let me know in the comment section how many books you've read, what you liked, what you didn't like, or if you didn't do the owls, that's fine. You can talk about the books you read in April. Are you planning on doing another readathon, etc.? Leave a comment down below with your house, Hogwarts house or whatever. I would love to chat with you, but I'm gonna leave you here. It's already a long video, wolves. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to be a part of the pack. Talk to me in the comment section as usual, and until next time, take care, wolves. Bye.